Hey guys, Charlie Murphy here. Thanks for choosing my video. Today I'm playing a session of 1-2 no limit 6 max games on Bovada. Table 4, under the gun open, small blind recreational player comes along for a call. I completed the big blind, or called closing the action from the big blind with 6-7. So an interesting action here on the flop. I flop bottom 2 on a coordinated board 10-7-6 rainbow. Get let into by about half pot from the recreational player, and the imposition player raises after I flat. I don't think I want to raise over the top here with kind of a low two pair here against possible sets and straights. I am going to continue, though, obviously. Can be against definitely one pair hands that I beat, like ace-10 and over pairs. Call that again. Ideal card in the river would be a 7 or 6, obviously. Well, I think I'm going to show down good here a lot. Yeah, he checks back. My small two pair is good. Now I'm against ace-10. Table 1, going to open king-jack under the gun. Table 2, recreational player open limp. You could isolation raise or check this in. I'm going to opt to check it, but I think it's pretty close. Raising is certainly fine. We'll check to him on the king-jack 4 rainbow board. You have a backdoor flush draw with my ace high. He bets 3/4. I think I just go ahead and check fold there. Playing in those spots to heavily attack when they check back the flop to start bluffing pretty heavily against their weak range that limps and then checks the flop. Take advantage of that. Table 4, opening kings in the cutoff. Button goes ahead and 3-bets me. Before betting jacks are better, ace king to stack off and mixing in some bluffs, maybe like offsuit combos of ace king, ace queen, wheel aces, ace 9, king 9. Any of the suited hands not quite good enough to defend for a call. It is interesting here in that we actually we're deeper. So before I go ahead and start saying I would stack off kings plus or queen jacks plus ace and ace king, I think I might actually be a good bit tighter here. I think it's going to be more like aces kings and ace king suited because we're just so deep. Still have a lot of bluffs though for that because we're so deep. Don't love that I'm deep out of position against a reg, but I do like that I've got position on a couple of recreational players. So I'm just going to play solid against this guy and look to pick up all the dead money from especially the 4 seat and perhaps the 3 seat as well. Table 3, opening ace 10 from the cutoff. Get 3-bet, then the short stack jams all in for 20 blinds. I'll get out of the way with my ace 10. Reasonable 4-bet bluff candidate pre-flop, assuming we just have everyone else fold back to me. Table 2 going to open 9-7 suited in the cutoff. Face a 3-bet, then a cold 4-bet from a short stack recreational player. Going to get way out of the way with 9-7 suited. Playing jam or fold here against that action. Probably can jam queens plus ace king, maybe jacks as well. I think jacks is kind of close. Table 4, opening ace 9 from the button. Called by the recreational player in the big blind. Going to go ahead and put in a small continuation bet on king 5 deuce 2-tone. I do have the ace of clubs. Table 1 going to open 10s from the cutoff, and table 2 10-8 suited from middle position. Going to go ahead and continue barreling here with the nut flush draw blocker and future blocker. Use just a small size against the rec because I'm bluffing. Table 1, open an ace-king suited from middle position. Face a 3-bet from the in-position player. He goes ahead and calls the double barrel. Get a board pairing king. I'm never folding out a king, and you have a lot of trouble folding other pocket pairs. I do have showdown against busted draws, so I'm actually going to check this one back. Against 10-3. Interesting. Table 4, facing the button open. I'll defend my big blind with 8-5 suited and check on the flop. Be check folding the 10 deuce deuce 2-tone board with no draw. Table 1, my raise first in gets 3-bet by the in position player. I'm gonna go ahead and 4-bet queens plus ace king to stack off with a mix in some bluffs like ace queen offsuit and a couple of suited broadways or wheel aces. Table 4 gonna keep checking with no equity. Can bluff the river if it checks through again. It does check through. I've got 8 high. Gonna go ahead and just try to fold out something like king high. He instantly folds. Open poster, recreational player and 60 blinds. Another rec lips behind. I'll complete the small blind on table 4 with ace 6 suited. Table 1 going to open ace 9 from the button. Just check fold my ace high and backdoor flush draw against the stab on table 4. Face a 3-bet on table 1, I'll go ahead and muck the ace 9. New 60-ish blind player open limps on table 4. I will isolate from the button with ace 5. Big blind and limper both call. Flop weak trips ace ace 7 rainbow. Going to be content to check this one back. Table 2 opening king jack from the button. Table 3 face a slightly larger than min open from the middle position player. I am in the button with pocket 8. Going to go ahead and put in a 3-bet there. I think I'm going to check back the trips and just try to either induce bluffs or get one straight of value on the river. Table 3 going to open ace 9 from the cutoff. Could also bet the turn there, but I think it's going to do a little better bet and checking back to bet the river or induce bluffs on the river. betting the turn is certainly reasonable with trips. Table 3, open an ace-9 suited in middle position. Flop, top pair, top kicker on a low monotone board, 9-6 deuce, all clubs. I'll go ahead and put in a small continuation bet. Face a small check raise. Always kind of dicey getting check raised with hands with no real nut potential here, especially on a monotone board. If ever against the small check raise size, I'm obviously not folding top pair, top kicker to a single bet. Single raise, single whatever. Turn is an overcard, non-club, the Jack of Hearts. I face an overbet. I think it's going to be a-okay to just go ahead and fold. I want to continue with sets, flop, flushes, and something involving a big club, typically the ace of clubs. I think I'll just go ahead and fold one pair hands with no real nut potential as the price of poker starts getting expensive there on his turnover bet. Table 1, open queen 10 suited in the cutoff. Table 4, also opening queen 10 suited in the cutoff. Recreational player comes along from the big blind. We get a 9-7-5 two-tone board. I do have the flush draw. He's a little bit short, so I'm just going to go ahead and check back and not risk getting check raised and forced to start putting a bunch of money in without full equity while I'm still very live but drawing. He checks back. I turn the second nuts on the ace of spades, giving me the queen high flush. He goes ahead and check calls the turn bet. River is a jack. I am going to go ahead and get greedy against the recreational player and overbet and just dare him to fold an ace or better. Table 3, opening king 10 from the cutoff. Big blind calls, checks to me on Queen 10-5. I'll go ahead and put in a small range bet. Queen 10-5, two-tone. I do have the king of spades in my hand. Great turn for me, an offsuit 10 giving me trip second kicker. Going to go ahead and continue barreling that card now for value. Planning to be betting rivers for the most part. Obviously, with strong trips. Get called. River is a double board carrying card. The 5 of hearts giving me the nuts aside from pocket queens or queen 10-5-5. I'm going to go ahead and continue betting for value. I'm going to use a pot size bet for value here on this double paired board. Get called down by a suspicious queen. I can have lots of busted draws there too to choose from as my bluffs. Table 2, open king 10 from the button. Table 4, squeeze opportunity. Recreational player opens button. Another recreational player flat calls in the small blind. I don't think I want to squeeze this necessarily, but I should probably just be calling it. It's kind of close. Yeah, I think it's fairly standard to call, though. Flop top pair and a flush draw with the jack of clubs on queen 6 deuce monotone, so go ahead and check. I think it's okay to check this twice and just try to better bluff catch the river. Small blind player leads out for half pot. Just go ahead and flat call that. Table 1, button opens. I'll defend the big blind with pocket sixes. Check the ace 9-5 rainbow flop. Continuation bets a quarter pot. Go ahead and check call my sixes. And let's see here. We have a blank river on table 4. I think I just want to go ahead and block bet this. Try to get called by something goofy and weak. In position player folds out. The small blind probably leads turn, then check calls river with the 10. Yeah, 9, 10, and diamonds. So got a little bit extra value there by putting that small bet in instead of just checking. Table 4, recreational player opens in middle position. I'll be 3-betting the cutoff with pocket queens. Possible chance to win a big pot here, starting with the premium against a recreational player. Good flop for queens, overpair on Jack 9 Deuce Rainbow. Going to go ahead and put in a small continuation bet, planning to keep chucking money in this pot if he comes along on most turn cards. The 8 is 1. I'll continue blasting, not that worried about 2 pairs or straights. Still going to keep betting here. I use the half pot size on a straight closer though, a little bit smaller. If I like the river, I'm jamming. Don't love that he's raising, as he can have 2 pairs and straights, but I got an overpair against a recreational player in a 3-bet pot where he can be overvaluing some kind of combo draw or Jack X hand. So we are going to ship the rest in here. And he actually had a bluff. Isn't that something? Check raised a lot of money and then folded. Table 1, under the gun player opens. I'm in the big blind with pocket tens. You could 3-bet this, but it's okay to flat here in these type formations on occasion, which is what I'm going to do with this one. Not an ideal board for tens. Jack 9 deuce monotone, no relevant suit in my hand, no heart on that heart flop. Continuation bet small. I'm not going to fold second pair to the one small bet, even on that less than ideal board texture. So I'll go ahead and check call, check the turn. Not a great turn, but not a bad turn by any stretch of imagination. Pretty blank, the offsuit 3. Looking to avoid overcards, hearts, that nature. He goes ahead and overbets now. I'll go ahead and fold pocket tens, no heart for sure against that. Table 4, I checked in against a limper and small blind completer with 6-4 and flop bottom 2 pair. It checks around on king 6-4, queen turn. I'm going to go ahead and start betting my small 2 pair out for value now. I get called. River is a 5, does complete some straights, but I'm going to go ahead and just bet again for value with a 3/4 size. Get called down. My hand is good. Table 1, I'm in the small blind. I'm facing a 3x open from a suspected recreational player. I'm going to go after him on the loose side here because I think he's a weaker player and 3-bet my pocket fives. Comes along for the call. I'll get a king 8 deuce rainbow board. I'm going to go ahead and put in a small continuation bet. He calls. Turn is the queen of hearts. I'm going to slow down here with the fives and check, keep this pot a bit smaller, move towards showdown. I risked river to a5. River to set. Backdoor flushes are possible, and I'm not going to be that worried about monsters under the bed. I want to see if this guy has this ability to fold a decent pair like a king. I'm going to go ahead and put all the money in and try to get paid with my backdoored set. Probably get a lot of folds here, but get enough calls to justify this, especially if I think he's a weak player. Yeah, folds ace queen face up. Table 1, opening queen 10 from the cutoff. In position, red calls the button. Get a low flush draw board, 7-6 deuce two-tone, no relevant suit in my hand, even with the back door. Go ahead and just check that, and probably check fold it. Turn is a board pairing deuce. I say if there's too much merit in betting this out. I mean, can I fold out hands like king, queen, king 10, ace 10? I think it's going to be worth going ahead and start. Well, I'm torn. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bluff with it. I think it's probably pretty close either way. Table 1, opening pocket kings in middle position. Table 3, blind on blind limps. I check back my 10-5 on the 9, a queen 9-3 two-tone board. Start bluffing the turn here. I'm going to go ahead and use the overbet size on that river. We've got good removal. Board's coordinated enough. I can fold one pairs to a big bet, but not a small one. Recreational player calls me in position on table 1. I'm going to go ahead and check range to him with the pocket kings. He check raising a lot here. He stabs half pot. Against the half pot, I can just go ahead and check call. Check call or check raise. Turn is the 6 of spades. Keep checking in flow. Not to fold, but to under rep or induce. He bets 2/3. I go ahead and check call again. River is a 7, 4 straight on the board. A little bit dicey now. But he's going to check down a lot of stuff that I'm beating. He does check down. My hand is good. Against ace 4. So he actually had bottom pair, top kicker on the flop, and he turned the nut flush draw. Table 4, opening 3s under the gun. Flop bottom set with 2 players in position to me on ace 7-3 on table 4. I'll go ahead and check range here out of position to 2 guys. Table 1 defended the big blind with ace 8 suited against the cutoff, and he goes ahead and pots it on queen 8-5. I'm going to go ahead and fold against that larger size. Flop checks around and puts out a flush closing turn, the jack of diamonds on table 4. I'm going to lead my set, but multi-way on that flush closing card, I'm going to go ahead and use a small bet. Not because I think that I'm beat, but I want to use a smaller size that lets me bet more on that particular texture. Both players call. River is the 10 that does close some straights, 8-9 and queen jack for Broadway. However, I am not going to be shying away from value betting a set here in this line. So I'm going to go ahead and bet 3/4. Expect to be called by worse a lot. The reg folds, but the rec calls me, and my hand is good. Jack 8, no good. Recreational player opens under the gun, table 3, a regular on the button calls. I've got a squeeze opportunity in the button with queen 9 suited. That one's going to be awful light to go ahead and 3-bet, but I think it's going to make quite a fine call here, especially with the recreational player involved. So I'll take the flop and close the action. Flop a gut shot, a flush draw, and an overcard on jack 8-3 two-tone. Very strong hand thus far. Get a continuation bet and the imposition player flats. I want to check raise draws aggressively here that have a lot of equity, like combo draws. Be a little worried that I don't have enough fold equity against the under the gun player, or this guy could be flatting with a set in position. I'm just going to go ahead and call and take the turn. Definitely check raise it, but I think it's okay to check call if I'm a little worried about fold equity being lower because of potential traps or because of this guy right here. Just being a fish and not folding very much. Now it checks around on the river. I'm going to go ahead and bluff out. I'm going to use the overbet size as if I was trapping. Hold out the one guy. Don't expect this guy to have a whole lot in the way of real strong hands either. My overbet bluff gets through. Table 3, open ace-7 from the cutoff. Slightly loose, but I'm pretty sure this guy's a weaker player, so I'm going to open slightly loose. Get an ace-queen 6 two-tone board. I'm going to go ahead and put in a small continuation bet. Checking back turns, unless maybe if I peel a 7 for aces and 7s. I face a small check raise. I'm going to go ahead and continue with top pair. I do also have that diamond in my hand, which gets very relevant on that third diamond turn, as I now have the nut flush blocker and draw. And go ahead and continue against that small overbet. And I just bang off the 4 flush. Sick life for me. He goes ahead and tries to block. Gonna go ahead and just mash the pot button here like I would do against a check. Table 3, get a limper under the gun. I isolated with pocket sixes. In position player 3-bets me, and the limper cold calls the 3-bet. I'm going to go ahead and call the pocket sixes, getting to go multi-way, at least one fish involved, and overlay on that money from his cold call. Really looking for that third 6. Don't see it, but if I did, it'd be a great situation, as this guy just open jams for 2x pot. Easy to fold the under pair on Jack 9-8 two-tone. Easy to call off if I happen to spike my 6. Pocket 10s doesn't stand for that mess and calls down, and the 8 deuce of clubs that just open jammed his bottom pair for some reason gets stacked. That's why I'm trying to get in pots with fish. They do things like that, and you're the one sitting there waiting to catch their punts when they do. Table 4, opening pocket sixes from middle position. Recreational player in the big blind 3-bets me small from 2.5 to 6. I don't love that he's short, but I do love the price I'm getting, so I'm going to call, take a flop, and decide. King, queen, deuce, rainbow. Probably won't put in too much money on this particular board unless we check and find a 6. Against that 3 into 12, though, I am going to float at least once. See if we get some showdown later on. He checks. I'll check back. Table 3, opening queens blind on blind. He's going to allow me to show it on. I'm going to take it, and I'm good against ace-jack. Blind on blind, I get called. I'm going to check to him on the queen-jack-7 rainbow board. Goes ahead and checks back. Turn is an ace, and second overcard, not a deal. I do not have a gut shot. I'll continue checking here. I'm not going to try to get him to fold an ace or a king. I'm not going to get enough value from weaker hands, I don't think, so I'm content to go ahead and check. I'll check call that small in position stab. River is a board pairing ace. He has an ace. He's obviously going to continue value betting it. At least I would expect him to. He doesn't bet, however. We check down, and my queens are good. Queens are good against queen 8 that did not try to bluff the river and instead took a showdown. I'm going to go ahead and just start bluffing my low gut shot over here on table 4. Plan to follow through on the river. It called in 2 positions, but not giving up 5 high. Going to keep bluffing against these fish and just hope for the best. Got the short stack out, but don't get the second short stack out as he is rivered a small flush. Table 4, recreational player open limps. I'm isolating from the button with queen 10. Button flats and the limper limp re-raises. The hand like Queen 10 is not going to play well against a three-bet or limp raise type scenario, so I'll go ahead and fold that one. It's a pretty decent price though, but a hand like Queen 10 offsuit is just going to get me into some trouble. Table 2, blind on blind, open an ace jack. Get called by the recreational player in position. I'll go ahead and check my ace high on that low board. 8-5 deuce two-tone. He checks back. Turn is a pretty good card for me. The ace of clubs giving me a strong top pair. I'm going to go ahead and use a 3/4 size in that flush closing turn. Especially with no club in my hand, I want to bet there. If he wants to stick around with a single club hand, I want him to either fold it against the bet or have to put some money in with it. Don't want to let all those one club hands realize equity for free. Before I got King 4 suited in middle position. That one's a little loose. These guys seem like they're weak players, but I think that one's a little bit too loose for my taste. Right on the cusp, though. It's pretty close if you got fish in the blinds. Recreational player min opens the button on table 4. I am going after him out of my small blind with ace jack suited. Get a call, and we get a Queen 9 deuce rainbow board. I'll go ahead and put in a small continuation bet here and continue barreling lots of turn cards that help me pick up equity. Kings, 10s, clubs. The offsuit 4 doesn't really do a whole lot for me, however. That said, there is merit to just bluffing this guy anyway. I do have some equity with the overcard. I think I'm going to go ahead and continue bluffing here. Take it down with the second barrel. Table 1, I open ace-10 in middle position. The big blind calls and checks to me on jack 5-3 rainbow. I put in a small continuation bet there too. Recreational player open limps. Table 4, I'll isolate from the cutoff with ace-10. Everyone folds except the limper, who limp calls, checks to me on 9-6 deuce. I'll go ahead and put a continuation bet, use a little bit bigger size here on that low board to put his overcard floats in a tougher spot as compared to using a small size. Get check called. Turn is the king. I think with that overcard, I can just go ahead and start pushing pressure on these recreational players and just keep barreling, so that's what I am going to do. Put in the 3/4 bet, and he doesn't think about it too long, just gives me credit and folds. Table 4, gonna open 7-6 suited under the gun. Don't always open that, but when I've got Rex in the blind, I sure do. Table 3, open Queen 3 suited from the button. Face a 3-bet from the big blind, and I am gonna fold. Table 3, gonna open Ace-5 from the cutoff. Slightly loose, but attacking the big blind player here. Folds to the big blind, who calls, checks to me. I've got top pair, top kicker, and the low end of the gut shot on that 5-4 deuce rainbow board. I'll put in a half-pot continuation bet. Turn is a 3, giving me the low end of the straight on the 4 straight board. I think I can check back the aces. Want to be betting hands like 6x, 6-7 here. Some 6x can be checked, some can be bet. Probably prioritize checking back the 6x with pairs and betting the ones without, just if I'm looking for some kind of heuristic. Hands like 7x can be my bluff. We get a 5 straight board, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then he open jams for what's effectively about 10x pot. I am not going to call a 10x pot jam just to chop playing the board. I will let him have that one. I suppose I can have some 7x, mostly 7x with pairs that have checked back as well, just to be snapping that off. 5, I'll just fold and catch him next time. Table 3, open Ace-King under the gun. Table 4, a recreational player open limps, and I isolate the button with King-Queen suited. My isolation raise gets 3-bet by the big blind. It's going to be a pretty clear call with King-Queen suited here, however. And my Ace-King gets 4-bet. Or 3-bet, rather. Can go ahead and put in the 4-bet. Table 4, he checks to me on Ace-5 deuce two-tone. I do have the nut flush draw with the King-Queen of spades. I'll go ahead and check that one back, not wanting to get check raised off this hand. Ace-King 4-bet gets through. Table 4, my King-Queen turns second pair top kicker to go along with the nut flush draw. Very content to check back on that particular card. River is the floor, putting the 4 straight out there. Gladly check down. Probably bluff catch as well. Yeah, check down. I outdraw pocket queens on the turn. My hand is good. Button open on table 1. I've got ace deuce in the big blind. It'll be a little bit too weak to call that one. Squeeze opportunity against a recreational player on the button and the short stack in the small blind. I'm going to go ahead and think about squeezing with king 10 suited. I think it's going to be a-okay. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put in the squeeze. Probably only going to call off with queens plus ace king if he jams, because we're about 150, 160 blinds deep there. Jacks is close. Normally it would 100 blinds deep. You could call off with tens there in a spot like that, but it's the guy who I think might be a recreational player in, because we're deeper. Definitely have to up my stack off thresholds there at least a little bit. Table 1, open ace 5 from the button. Get an ace queen deuce rainbow board. Plan for this will be to bet small and check back almost all turns, pretty much non-5 turns, to either bluff catch or value bet the river. Checks. Put in my small continuation bet. And take it down. Gonna open king jack on table 3 rather, I'm sorry. Recreational player calls in the big blind. Get a low coordinated board, 7-4-3 two-tone. I am going to continuation bet him here, though checking back a hand like this would also be fine. I'm going to use the half pot size on that low board. Turn is the 8th. I don't know if that's really all that much of a scare card, nor does it give me any equity. I'm going to just go ahead and check this one back and look to play rivers. River is the 6th, putting a 4 straight out there. Not going to try to show this one down. I'm just going to go ahead and blast pot as a bluff. Doesn't work. He's got 2 pair on the flop, 7s and 3s. I think his play is just fine. Table 2, opening ace deuce from the button. Table 3, opening queen jack suited from the cutoff. Flop a gut shot and flush draw. King 9-6 two-tone against the recreational player. Going to go ahead and put a small continuation bet and continue barreling. With most cards, the queen giving me showdown value is actually one of the few cards I think I would check back. You know, I'm going to go ahead and check this one. Yeah, not a whole lot of reason to be betting the queen here. Just check back and look to get some value on the river one way or another. He continues checking. I'm going to reopen for value with second pair here. Folds that one. Table 4, the middle position player opens. I defend my big blind with 8-7 suited. I check to him and check call on the jack 4-4 two-tone board, giving me that diamond flush draw. Turn is a deuce. Continue checking. He bets again. Got a flush draw, but no real overcards or combo draws to speak of. I think it's okay to actually just fold that one on the turn. Against a bigger bet for sure, like a pot size bet or overbet, I'm quite comfortable folding's okay. I think it's going to be okay to fold that even against a more medium-sized turn bet. I can have Jack X, I can have the 4s that didn't raise on the flop, I can have various pocket pairs that are going to call a second barrel, or at least can consider calling a second barrel. I can have flush draws with overcards. Recreational player limps the cutoff on table 3. I will raise him up out of the big blind with pocket 10s. He quickly folds. Got a dead posting player on table 4. I am in the button with ace 4. I'll let that one go. I could maybe go after him. I think it's fairly close, but I'll let that one go. Table 3, recreational player open limp, so I'll complete my small blind with 10-9. Got a gut shot on that 7-6-3 rainbow flop. Gonna go ahead and check. Turn, flop checks around, turn is the jack and overcard. Still have the gut shot. Gonna go ahead and semi-bluff my gutter ball. And both players quickly fold. Table 1, ace queen on the button. Go ahead and open that. Table 3, opening jack 9 from the cutoff, going after the big blind player again. Get 3-bet from the small blind, and I can let that one go. Table 2, button opens. I'm in the big blind with jack 3 suited. Can defend my suited jacks in this loose formation, at least against a standard RFI size. So I'll defend the jack 3 and go to the flop. King 3 deuce two-tone, so I do have a pair. I'll go ahead and check call second pair against that small flop bet. Table 1, under the gun opens. I'll 3-bet middle position with pocket aces, my favorite hand. Table 4, recreational player opens the cutoff. I'll 3-bet the small blind with jack 10 suited. Both my 3-bets get through. Table 2, the turn checks through. The river is a board pairing 4, so it runs out to king 3 deuce 4-4. I'm going to go ahead and check. Planning to mostly check call here. All kinds of various whiffed overcards, high card hands. Goes ahead and bets 2 into 8. Like, that really feels an awful lot like just milking value with some kind of weak king or pocket pair. However, for that odd, I can ever consider folding a pair here. I'm just going to call, and if he's got pocket nines, congratulations. There's a couple extra blinds for you, sir. Table 3, recreational player open limps the button. Small blind completes. I'll isolate out of the big blind with king 10 suited. Table 2, open an 8-6 suited, blind on blind. And table 4, open in pocket 6s in middle position. Table 3, open an ace 3, blind on blind. Get 3-bet, and I'll muck the ace 3. Shuffle out table 2. Table 1, for that matter. 3 and 4 still look promising, though. Table 3, open ace queen, middle position. Very standard. Table 3, rec open limps. The small blind clicks it up from 1 to 2. I've got ace 5 offsuit. I will defend that goofy little min raise here, but I don't love getting sandwiched between the players. Just a chance to take a cheap flop with any reasonable hand against recreational players is something that's pretty tough to pass up. Maybe king 8-6 two-tone board. Not a whole lot going on except for the backdoor nut flush draw with my ace of clubs. Small blind checks after raising pre-flop. I'll check as well. In position player stabs half pot, and I think I can just go ahead and check fold here. Not a whole lot really going on there. I got a guy open limping under the gun after playing 16-10 over 61 hands, and he has limp, but only twice out of 25 hands. This just screams limp re-raise scenario to me. Get an isolation raise and a big blind rather 3-bet. He actually folds there, but perhaps he wasn't nutted. Even though I definitely think he was planning to try a limp re-raise tactic. Table 1, recreational player limps, or table 3 rather, I'm sorry. Recreational player limps. I'll isolate middle position with ace 10. Second rec comes along for a call in the small blind. Limper limp calls as well. Get a low rainbow board, 5-4 deuce. Got ace high for a gut shot over cards. Get led into by the limping player. Pretty healthy size, 3/4 lead, especially with the player behind me. I think it's a-okay to go ahead and fold this hand against that action. I think it's about time to take a little break. Tables are breaking anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. The next big blind. Got king 3 suited in what's effectively middle position on table 4. A little bit loose to open. Could do it, especially with weaker players in the blinds. Pretty close. Shut that table down. Well, that's all the hands for now. Thanks for watching. Till next time, this is Charlie Murphy.